joining us. My name is Sam and I work on the marketing team at Concord, and today you're joining us from the downtown Concord Presentation Center in Concord City Place. So for those of you that aren't super familiar with Concord, we are Canada's largest community builders with developments across Canada, locally in Toronto in Concord City Place, and in North York, Concord Park Place. Today, we're so excited to be partnering with JOMO Studio to bring you some awesome summer content. Last week, we had a similar webinar and we taught you guys all about Plant Care 101, and we're so excited to be back here again with JOMO today. So JOMO is a local Toronto-based handcrafted art plan interior design studio, and they have a great team behind them. I'll let Graham tell you a bit more about them when he joins us. Before we get started on this session, I just wanted to tell you a bit more about our partnership. So Concord builds some amazing condo projects, all with some really great balconies. They all have really luxe features, and just like you can use your own personal design style to make your house a home, we want to help you use plants and greenery to really upgrade your outdoor living space. So as mentioned in the promotions, we will be giving away 5 of JOMO's most sought after plants to our attendees today. So make sure you stay on for the full session and we'll announce the winners at the end. And without further ado, I'm going to bring on Graham from JOMO Studio.
Hey everyone, my name is Graham and I'm from JOMO, and today we're going to go over the best plants for your home. So we have lots of plants before us today, and if you have any questions throughout the course of this, send us a direct message on Instagram, and that's simply at JOMO Studio, and we'll try to answer your questions as quickly as we can. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over 3 big categories, and then we're going to break it down into the light. So this is summer. This is the perfect opportunity to plantify your outdoor space, your balcony, your patio, etc. Or if you have a Juliet, open that door, put the plants right up against the edge because they're going to love all that light and sun coming in. So what we have to top off this category would be these 3 over here. So we have a beautiful orange tree, we have a ponytail palm, and any type of succulent or cacti, such as our cute little fairy castle cacti here. These plants are going to be loving being on your balcony. And if you want something a little bit bigger, behind me is our big palms. We also have some of those. A lot of the palms have been shade grown, which means you don't need that full sun hitting it. They're the perfect ones for if you have a balcony with that's kind of tucked in a bit. It's going to be amazing in that space there. So next would be the ones that are plant friendly, or they're all plant friendly, pet friendly. Now generally if it's pet friendly, it should also be kid friendly. We don't encourage children eating any plants unless it's like a salad. But what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the ones that are pet friendly. So if you have a pet that likes to get a little bit nibbly with your plants, these are the ones that will be okay for you. So a huge category is Calathea, and there's lots and lots of different types of Calathea. Here's a Calathea obofolia, here's a Calathea peacock, and the prints that you get on these leaves, any type of Calathea, are absolutely dynamite. And things like Haworthia, cacti, they're also pet friendly because a lot of times the animals are not drawn to them because they're not very favorable to nibble on. And then we also have some Hoyas. So you can get Hoyas in a pot, you can get them in a hanging basket as well. And what the Hoya will allow you to do is to have some drama at the beginning going up, and as everything gets a little bit heavy, it's going to be draping down. So it allows a transitional type of plant for you. And such as like the Peperomia or the marsh pennywort. The Peperomia is another huge family, much like the Calathea. There's lots of different types. This one in particular is our green ripple, and this one over here is the marsh pennywort. So that kind of summarizes the pet-friendly plant. There's actually a lot. So if you're going to go on to jomostudio.com, on the left-hand side you're able to filter, and one of the options that you can filter is pet-friendly. It'll have a little paw icon to indicate that it is suited for your pet. The next would be the air purifying type of plants, and they're kind of scattered throughout here, but the #1 air purifying plant that you can get are the snake plants. Now this is a Laurentii, but there's so many different types of snake plants and lots of different sizes. So you might be able to see this one. This is a huge 10-inch one. This is a smaller 6-inch diameter pot. You can go up to 14, 18, those things are giants, but a really good air purifying type of plant. The peace lily also is an amazing one for you as well. And the Chinese evergreen, this is another huge family of plants. And what the Chinese evergreens will allow you to do is get amazing color year-round, because the color is not in the flower like it is with the peace lily, but it's with the actual leaves themselves. And there's so many different types. This one in particular is the Chinese evergreen Valentine, which is really popular around Valentine's Day, as you can imagine. And then lots of different types of Pathos. So we have the Marble Queen, we have the Pathos Neon, and these are really, really suitable in a wide variety of light conditions as well. And it's a trailing type of plant. So you can put it on a shelf, a ledge, and it's going to be cascading down, creating a lot of drama within that space for you. Okay, so we've kind of covered outdoor, we've covered the air purifying, the pet friendly. Now we're going to talk a little bit about lighting. So when you have a home, and I really want to get some plants for this place, what you need to be focusing on is the light. So yes, it looks pretty, but will it do well in that particular space? So you've heard of, probably, direct and indirect light, low, medium, high light. So let's talk about those things before we go on to showing you some plants. So direct means when your plant is sitting where it is, if it can see the sun staring back at it, that would be direct because it has direct contact with the sun shining in on it. And then the opposite of that would be indirect, is yes, it can still be right by the window, but it doesn't have any sun shining back onto it, so it'll be indirect. Okay, so let's go into low, medium, high. So low light is, actually, let's start with highlight. So highlight would be right near the window. It has the greatest access, the biggest range of sky. It's collecting a lot of light. And remember, light is food, so it's good for the plant, and some like to eat more than others. And then medium light would be a couple feet back from that, and low light would be a couple feet back from that even more. And to clarify, low light does not mean no light. Light is food, so all plants need light, but we are going to talk about ones that can get away with very, very minimal light and still look great. So we're going to start on the low light, and we often have people come into the shop or send us a DM on Instagram, and they say, oh, I don't have a lot of light, I'm in a north-facing condo, or I'm in a basement apartment with just a couple of little windows. You actually have a lot of options. So at JOMO, we try to source plants that fit any scenario, and low light just happens to be one with a lot of color and a lot of options. So let's go over those. So do you remember the Calathea that I was talking about at the very beginning? All of these are amazing in low light condition. They actually don't do well with a lot of sun hitting them, so they're perfect if you have a place you want a lot of color that's a little bit further back from the window. They're going to be absolutely fine. The Chinese evergreens is another family that you can also pull off in a low light environment. And again, I only have one here. There's dozens, and the color and the prints are amazing. The Dieffenbachia, my favorite would be the Dieffenbachia family. And this one in particular is called Tropical Snow. And you just can't get away with any other leaf pattern like the Dieffenbachia can. It's just fantastic. And the pothos at the front, they're also really good for lower light. And probably the 2 or 3 best plants for your low light space would be the snake plant, You can also do the yucca plant, but our favorite at JOMO is the ZZ. So the ZZ is super easy, and this one you can put in a very, very low light environment. This is one of the few plants that can grow successfully just under fluorescent lights as well. And the care on these three are also really, really easy as well for the snake plant, the ZZ, and the yucca tree. So next would be the medium light. You can kind of get away with some low light in medium and some highlight within medium. So it's all about trial and error and just seeing how the plant acclimates to that particular space. But ones that would do well would be Pathos, a Monstera, and the Calathea. But just be careful of the Calathea, so just keep an eye on them. The last category that we're going to go over is the highlight. So you have a giant window and you want to put the plants there. It might not necessarily be direct highlight, but highlight nonetheless would be our fiddle. So in our other video that we had a giant fiddle in behind us. This is a much smaller version. You can get them in this little tabletop size, or you can get them in a full tree size, depending on your space that you have. The orange tree, cacti, and the bird of paradise here are also really good for highlight, super bright spaces. They love a bunch of light. So now we're going to talk about, now that we've gone over direct, indirect, and some of the other categories, is the size of plant. So when you're getting a plant, you can also think of, do you want a tabletop, or do you want something much, much larger to fill your space, to be your statement piece? And when you're getting a plant, you can always ask, does this plant go up tall? Is it a vining plant? Is it something that's going to have a mound, so it's not going to continuously grow up and up and up, it's just going to get thicker and thicker and thicker here? So if you have your vision of what you're trying to achieve within that space, those are some things to keep in mind as well when it comes to the plant. And if you have a plant that you love, but maybe the big ones are just too much for your space, but you still want the height, you can always prop it up on a side table or an elevated pot stand, and that'll give you the height that you need, but not the volume of the actual plant. And when you're thinking of the pot size, you'll have a bit of a bump up in between one pot size to the next pot size. But if you go up 2 pot sizes, that's where you're going to get that dramatic difference. So between a 4-inch and an 8-inch, that's a huge difference. Sometimes the 6-inch is just a little bit bigger than the 4 and a little bit bigger than the 8, but between the two, they're going to be a really big difference. And some of the other things that you should keep in mind is the plant care, the maintenance. So these are living things. They require your love and care and attention. I would say singing, but I'm not the best singer, so I'm not going to include that one. But things that you need to keep in mind are which ones are higher needs and which ones have lower needs. So the higher needs would be something like the Calatheas. If you like to tinker, if you like to mist, we have a lot of customers that like to mist plants every day. Those are the type of plants that you're going to be getting, the ones that love your attention. So the Calatheas. If you're looking for a plant with lower care requirements, things like the ZZ, the snake plants, the yucca, even the bird of paradise, those are more lower end, where you're only going to be watering every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on your light environment. So you're wanting to find plants that match your lifestyle. For instance, if you're traveling constantly, or if you have pets and you have children, keep those elements in mind when you're looking for the plant that is right for you. As always, when you purchase plants from us at JOMO Studio, we offer lifetime support. So what that means is when you get a plant, we just don't say, here's your plant, good luck. We say, here's your plant. If you have any questions, you can always send us a DM or email, and we'll be there to guide you along with some advice, tips, and some rehabilitation guides if you need them. So if you have any questions for us in general or specifically about the plants that we mentioned today, feel free to send us a DM on Instagram, and that's at JOMO Studio, and we'll be happy to help you. And with that, I'll say thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks so much, Graham. That was awesome. I definitely made some notes because I know my lifestyle and now I know how plants fit it. Thanks again to JOMO Studio and all of you for joining us. We're so excited to be partnering with JOMO, and remember to stay following us or start following us on Instagram to stay up to date with different events and content that we will have for you. So again, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.